Hey, this is Corey from Fueler Photos, and today I'm going to be reviewing PKeyPhoto.com. Let's go ahead and get started on that. And it's taking a second to load here. Good that it was starting to load the page, so at least I knew something was coming, but it was a little bit slow on that. So the first thing I like to ask is, what is this website about? And I can see that it says Porsche Key Photography, and I see these photos in the gallery. So I assume that this is a photography website about, so far, babies and maternity, potentially. I see up here newborns, babies, families. So I assume it's a newborn, baby, and family photography website. So that's good. We can get that pretty quickly. The next thing is what services are offered and where. And so up here in the tab, for a savvy user, I can see, Atlanta newborn and family photographer, so that's good. But for someone who's not a savvy user, or in a different browser, like on their phone or pretty much anywhere else that doesn't display that information readily, this doesn't tell me where the services are, where the services are offered, or even which services, other than I know newborns, babies, and families. So I assume those are the services offered as far as where I can guess Atlanta because of this, but so far on the page, I don't have any other information. So then what is the first thing that I want to do on the site? And that would be, immediately I want to look through the slider and try to get it to kind of advance and go through, but I can't seem to click it or swipe it with my mouse or anything like that to get this to keep moving. Okay, so I can click on these little dots and I can see these 4 photos right here. So I was able to do that, but it was a little bit harder than I wanted to kind of flip through some photos. Although I'm not sure that's the point of this, and if that's the case, then maybe you want to turn off the dots, or I'm not sure, but that is what I was wanting to do at first, was kind of look through more photos here in this gallery, just because I guess it's an instinctual thing that I want to do. So that does not work as expected. And then I see that there's text here. I assume I can go ahead and scroll down. I love these words, although they still don't tell me anything about location or exactly what it is that you do, other than I'm starting to get a really good idea of what you do with these pictures. So that's good. So now I have gallery, pricing, and contact. Now I have seen this site before. It's not one of the ones that I'm completely blind testing. And so I know that if I scroll on down, I'm going to see here some information like you're an Atlanta newborn, baby, and family photographer, and that you're in Canton, Georgia, but also serve greater Atlanta. I like all of that information. That's great. However, notice that whenever I got to here, I still didn't know where you are located, and I am likely to click one of these links instead of keep on scrolling. And so I wanted to click on gallery first, because again, remember, I wanted to look through more pictures here, but that wasn't really an option. So, and that's fine. I think that's okay for your home page. You don't necessarily want to overload the home page with pictures, but I want to see pictures. And so since I saw that I have a gallery option, I'm going to go ahead and click that. And now we have maternity, newborns, babies, children, families. So this is really good. This tells me exactly what you do quickly on the page. And I can get an overview with a picture and with text that tells me what's going to happen when I click one of these. And I expect it to open up a gallery of this specific type whenever I click this. So I do like this layout that you're using here. I think that's really nice. Let's go ahead and check the newborn gallery. That's a cute picture, by the way. Okay, so open that up. It's a little slow to load. Of course, that's kind of to be expected with a gallery. And then this is just a scrolling page gallery. I don't really have any problems with that. I think it's fairly easy to use on desktop and mobile. It's kind of one of those personal preference things, what kind of gallery you use. Now, one thing to note here is that when I get to the bottom, all I have is the option to go back to gallery, or I can use some of this information, but let's just see what happens when I click that. So this is taking me back to the overview. But what if I wanted to book a session at this point? Like, oh yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for I want a maternity session just like this. I would love to have a button down here that's like, hey, let's go ahead and book your maternity session. And even say something like, do you like what you've seen so far? Let's get you set up with a session just like this one, or something like that. Noticing up here, this is a maternity -2. I always like to clean those little things up. Not a huge problem, but also not ideal. Okay, so what else do we have here? Any other notable things I wanted to do or anything I had a hard time doing? We already talked a little bit about that. Let's go back to the home page and just see if there's anything else that I definitely wanted to do. Pricing and contact. Let's look at both of those pages because those are both things that I'd be interested in. Also, you may have wanted this information at the bottom of the gallery page, potentially. I think I'd probably skip that because at that point they are emotionally decided already, and you might want to skip the pricing unless you just really want everyone to look at the pricing page. Because I know sometimes I do on my photography site. I'm like, if they email me and ask me about pricing, I'm like, seriously, have you not looked at my website yet? Because I have all my pricing listed there. Okay, so that looks good. This is helpful. I'm not going to read it in detail, but it looks good. And then the other thing was contact. Let's go ahead and look at that. Hello and welcome. You got your name. You got your phone number, you've got your email address, and it looks like a form is trying to load here. Notice how long it's taking for this to load. In many cases, someone may have already skipped on this. I'm not sure why this is taking so long. I'm not sure exactly. Let's see if I can find out for you which form you're using. Okay, so we got some errors going on here. Looks like those are all related to some JavaScript files. That may not have anything to do with this, or it may. I'm not sure. So this is the Ninja Forms. Is this anything with Ninja Forms? Okay, I'm not going to get into that. This is not the job of this review. But it looks like you have a little bit of problems with your Ninja Form there. It's not loading correctly. You definitely need to debug that. Okay, so that kind of does an overview. So as far as like the usability and the layout of and the function of your site, I actually really like what you have. I would love to see you fill this out with a couple more blog posts here, so it doesn't look like, oh well, you haven't been blogging very much lately. If you put 5 here, they will never know if there's 100 or if there's 5. If you put 3 here, it's like, oh well, she must only have 3 posts because it's not filling up the entire space. So I'd go ahead and get at least 2 more posts on there. This I was able to show Instagram photos. That's what my inspector was talking about there, was telling me that Instagram plugin is having a problem there loading. So for some reason that's not loading properly. You either want to take that off or figure out what's going on with that. Okay, let's get into a few of the SEO topics here. I'm going to give you one more general thought. So you have your Instagram and Facebook links up here, and that's pretty common to put these social media icons in the header. But I personally don't really like that practice. I'd rather them be in the footer only. And the reason for that is once you get someone on your website, often you don't want them to leave and go to your social media. You want them to stay on your site. You want your social media to be driving to your site and not necessarily the other way around. If it's something that you find where your clients are converting better on your social media than they are on your website, by all means keep sending them there. But just be conscious of that. And I like that. I like to have it on the site. Like I said, have it on the footer, have it on the contact page. But generally, I would rather not have it in the header. That's just kind of a personal opinion on that. Let's go ahead and look at some of these SEO things. So domain issues are good. Page title, let's open up Moz. We're going to look here at the page title, Atlanta newborn and family photographer. Meta description, Atlanta newborn and family photographer located in Canton, Georgia. I specialize in maternity newborn baby. Okay, so 2 things. First, I don't recommend just repeating this here and here. If this shows up in a search engine, in fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Site : I forgot the exact domain. PKeyPhoto.com. This is going to show us what's indexed in Google. We have 9 results, and we can see the first result here is the home page, and we can see exactly how that looks. So Atlanta newborn and family photographer, Atlanta newborn and family photographer. It's just a little bit repetitive. Now notice here that you have Atlanta newborn and family photographer and then this pipe and then your name, but Google is rewriting it for you. Put your name first and then the keyword. That's pretty common. I usually just go ahead and rewrite it this way because I know Google prefers it that way. But if it were the way that you have it written, you would be seeing the same thing, skip a line, you'd have the same information twice. I don't necessarily recommend that. It's not critical that you get exactly the keyword into the meta description, even if Yoast tries to bug you about it. Don't worry too much, because this isn't a direct ranking factor. You just want to make this clickable. If you can get the keywords in it, Google may bold those keywords if someone searches for them specifically, but it's an opportunity to potentially vary it up just a little bit and have people who search slightly differently get that kind of thing bolded. The other thing is that when you're talking about a keyword that uses two things like newborn and family, you have to be careful exactly how you phrase it, because often, and as much as I would like to think that Google is moving past this kind of thing, and I think they will eventually, and they're working on it, but sometimes that exact match keyword makes a big difference. And so right now, it's very unlikely that someone's going to be typing in newborn and family photographer. You do have the family photographer exact match, but not Atlanta family photographer, and you have this Atlanta newborn exact match, but not Atlanta newborn photographer exact match. So you're kind of breaking up your exact match keywords, but if you're careful about it and very intentional, you can make it work for at least one of them. So for example, I might say, I'm just trying to think of how I would say this. You could say family and newborn photographer in Atlanta, Georgia, for example. And if newborn photographer in Atlanta, Georgia is close enough to a target keyword that you want to rank for, if it's Atlanta newborn photographer specifically, you might say, I'm trying to think of how you might be able to say that. That's going to be tough. But if you do it, if you just reword it a little bit and still get in one of those kind of top keywords, if I said family and newborn photographer in Atlanta, Georgia, at least I'm getting newborn photographer in Atlanta, Georgia, all as an exact match keyword. And the family is also in the title, which is nice, but it doesn't break up the exact match. So that's kind of a really technical thing. You don't have an H1 on the page. And you have some alt text, which looks good. So you're doing a good job with that. So if I were you, I would put an H1 on this page, and I would put it here. Personally, I would put it above this slideshow, but at the very least, put it here below the slideshow where you have this now. This does not appear to be an H1, maybe an H2 or something. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get this. I'm getting this all screwed up now. It's just a. It's like it's just putting it in a div and putting it in. It's not even a paragraph tag. It's just text. If you put this in an H1 tag and then made it something like newborn family and newborn photographer in Atlanta, Georgia, or something, whatever you decide your keywords are, it tells people what you do immediately. That's why I would put it above the fold, is it would tell people right away exactly where you are and what you do. But at least down here, it would be on the page before they get to this, before they can take action and leave this page still confused. Okay, so body copy, there's not much copy on the page. You have this down here, but this is what we call boilerplate template or copy. You have this on every page in the footer. So what basically happens there is that it doesn't really count towards the ranking of any page very much. I mean, if any page is usually going to contribute to the home page, it still counted towards every page, but because of that, it's duplicated. It's duplicate content. Duplicate content does not have a penalty like a lot of people think it does, but what happens is that Google doesn't want to index every single page and kind of highlight the same content on every single page. So what it's going to do is it's going to kind of see, it might pull from this if someone has a query that fits here. It's so complicated. I don't want to really get into explaining exactly how all of this works. Just know that in this kind of boilerplate copy, it's usually not a very strong ranking factor. It doesn't help your ranking for any particular page or every page. It's not hurting anything. It's fine for you to do this, but it would be really nice to have some really unique copy here on the home page. I would put it here under these things where people already know what they want to do. They can click on one of these, but if not, I would put some information about you and your why and what's different about your business right here. A couple of paragraphs would be great. If you can get 200 or 300 words, that would be excellent. If you get more, hey, even better. Okay, and then alt text we already talked about, headings we already talked about, meta and title. Okay, so that's really kind of the sum of things. I do like that you have a mailing list, although join the list and join our mailing list are probably not very enticing reasons for someone to join. It'd be much better if you made this something, even something really simple like, hey, make sure to get updates next time I run a special, or make sure you never miss a family session by subscribing for updates, or something like that's better than this. But what would be even better than that is, hey, I put together a free guide on how to prepare for a newborn session before the baby is even born. Get it here, and then enter your name and email, and you mail it to them. I'm not going to get a whole lot into that either. That's not really a website review thing. It is to tell you that it's a thing, but I'm not going to get into like exact strategies on what you could do. Just know that you need to make this more enticing. Let's look at one more thing here. You look at the actual blog page. Same thing with this. But otherwise, you only have information in one category. I think I noticed that before. If I click up here into like babies or families, these are category archives, and because there's nothing here, it's basically a broken page. And so you need to go ahead and get some content in these, or remove this completely. At this point in your site, I would remove this top bar 100% until you have some content there. I like the fact that you have these categories across the top. I guess that's a good place for them. Maybe not the optimal place for categories, but still, I like that you have it here, especially on the blog pages. But while there's nothing in them, you need to go ahead and get rid of that. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. And if you have questions, of course, I know that you are already a member of the premium membership, and you can always ask questions anytime in the forum. If anyone else is interested in the premium membership, you can go to fuelyourphotos.com/membership, and we have a members-only forum where you can have direct access to me and the other members anytime to ask questions. And I also have a course taking you step-by-step through how to set up and optimize and promote your website. So if you'd like information about that, you can check it out. If you'd like your site reviewed, all you need to do is go to fuelyourphotos.com/reviews and submit your site and your name and email address, and I will get you on my list and get that done as soon as possible. There's a bit of a waiting list right now, but I will get to it as soon as I can. Otherwise, subscribe to the YouTube channel to see more reviews like this. Hopefully you can find helpful information by watching other people's reviews as well, and check out some of the other videos that I have on the YouTube channel. Give them some likes and leave me some comments. I'd love to hear from you. One more thing, make sure you go ahead and go over to Facebook and join the Fuel Your Photos Facebook group, and we have a lot of conversations and questions and all that kind of stuff happening over there. That's free. You can join that anytime. So I'll see you again soon for the next review.